"This is not goo," the MC said. The teachers were going to radio everyone from outside when, to their good fortune, the radio died and the dungeon changed too quickly, trapping them inside. So, before the internal structure changes once more, everyone has a little over a month. The trainers then take their trainees somewhere else first. As everyone can perceive, there was an unexpected event in the dungeon, but the instructors warn them that they don't need to worry since they will wait for an hour in their current location to see if the dungeon entrance reopens as instructed in the instructions. The recruits were relieved to learn that they would leave if they waited for an hour, as they had all assumed they would be trapped there. The second instructor has said that they are certain that everyone outside was trying to analyze the situation as well, since the lieutenant will take the necessary action. All they need to do is wait without getting anxious. However, MC assumed that the military continued to train there because they were confident that it would not experience any unforeseen circumstances similar to this. But it was a surprise, and it was rather foreboding how the entrance to the dungeon, which was always open, would suddenly close. And as MC had predicted, the teachers are aware that things aren't looking well. They have responded calmly, but there's a fair likelihood that there isn't a real manual for these circumstances. It might be more difficult to vanquish than MC anticipated if the dungeon has changed into an enclosed dungeon, as he believes. Additionally, he has noted that Isgard had a situation like this. The issue is not the worst, but it is tricky. The worst case scenario is present, and MC is present, so that is a given. The two instructors have confided in one another that they are certain the dungeon they are now in has changed into an enclosed dungeon. A dungeon's entrance vanishes in just two specific circumstances. The first time the dungeon dissipates is when the opponent defeats the dungeon, at which point it naturally vanishes. And in the second scenario, referred to as the enclosed dungeon, the portal gate vanishes the moment an outsider steps through it. The gate vanished, which makes sense given that they were within the dungeon at the time the morphing dungeon changed into an enclosed dungeon. Furthermore, more than one monster will undoubtedly come, because a dungeon must be cleared of all of its inhabitants' monsters before it can be opened. This is the only way to leave one. In other words, there is no way for them to get outside help, which is true. The group of 6 must escape the dungeon with the help of 4 recruits who have no prior combat training and 2 instructors. They have all tensed up, as they should have once the instructor told them about their predicament. They are unsure of which creatures have come. If they were unlucky, this might be the beginning of the end for them all. But they can't really just stand still, you know. While still possessing the majority of their strength, they must continue going. It would also have been preferable if the instructors themselves had all the necessary tools. Even if they confront goblins at this rate, they will be entirely destroyed. The teachers won't be able to take one down for more than 10 minutes, so they will have more time. Using the protective suits that the recruits are outfitted with would be the most effective and practical course of action. They can defeat the monsters as the goblins attempt to hold out by using their defensive capabilities, positioning the recruits in front of the enemy, and using the absurdly dense and heavy suits as a shield. However, the trainers are also aware that the recruits have thus far put their trust in them and put up with their demanding training. When the instructors are their seniors, they will be unable to exploit their juniors as human shields due to their poor self-esteem. Then, a team member said that the incident in the dungeon during their final week of training was truly the icing on the cake of their enlistment. In the meantime, one of their instructors experiences a seizure without warning, and his companion runs to assist Corporal Kim Ha-jun. However, they are unaware that both of the instructors are experiencing seizures. MC noted that there was no way to save Corporal Kim even if their instructor went and assisted him. MC, however, headed in the direction of the teachers while admonishing his companions to remain back in case they encountered the same difficulty as their instructor. Aside from not being astonished by what transpired, MC consulted with their instructors and concluded that the two simply fainted and nothing more severe had occurred. MC walked towards the smell when he noticed it was familiar and told his comrades not to follow him but to instead wait at the exit. He then handed the instructors over to their care. Then, his comrades urged him to simply remain back because the situation was extremely risky for them all and MC might also perish like his teachers. Luckily, MC insisted on going nonetheless. The true reason their professors collapsed was due to demonic energy, which amazes MC that it exists on Earth. Therefore, MC then exclaimed that he was so pleased that he could pass away at any time, although he did not find it unusual that the woken instructors were dozing off. Even as guardians are covered in a special defense before encountering the beasts to shield them from demonic energies. Because of this, it is significantly more deadly to regular people. But to dark mages like MC, demonic energies are like a phone charger. The dense demonic energy's origin was then reached by MC. There were no signs of a monster around since it was so silent. When confronted by a dark mage such as him, the creature could not remain concealed since it smelled. As it turned out, the monster was a dark hound, and the MC should not have assumed that because the two creatures' names are similar, they are the same. They are also a species that, in comparison to other hounds, is utterly dominant. After being summoned to Isgard for approximately a year, according to MC, is when he first came into contact with something akin to a dark hound. The main character, or MC, almost perished when he attempted to combat a monster he had never seen before in all of the monster guides on Earth. MC is happy to see a familiar face, despite this. The Dark Hound's demonic energy served as MC's supper while he attacked it, and MC thanked it for that. Dark Hounds are challenging to defeat because of their venomous blood, which causes the skin of ordinary humans to rot when they come in contact with it. The smell of blood is still sickening to the MC, but the enormous amount of demonic energy that spills out after the death of the Dark Hound is unbearable. Naturally, none of those things apply to black mages like MC. The Dark Hound's blood produced venom, which did not hurt the main character because dark magicians like him are exempt from those conditions as a result of the Dark Hound's defeat. For the first time in a very long time, MC is ecstatic as he takes in demonic energy. His perception of his charge level is 5%. For MC, the reason a dark hound that is often seen in Isgard was on their planet is still a mystery. The instructor's response led MC to believe that it was the first time he had heard of a monster on Earth possessing demonic energy, even though he had given the possibility some thought. When learning about monsters at the training facility, neither demonic energy nor the dark hound were mentioned. It is also impossible for the dark hound to manage dimensional travel on its own, since only a saint who has access to God's abilities or someone like MC, who has attained the pinnacle of dark magic, can perform it. It is a skill that only a select few people possess. MC could not stop obsessing over what was essentially a small matter. The Black Hound's corpse, which he will need for his report, is next discovered by the MC. The instructors were awakened in the meantime, and they promptly proceeded to frighten the recruits after becoming concerned by everything. The only concern the instructors had was that MC had gone deeper into the dungeon on his own, which was otherwise fine, according to the professors. An instructor was informed by a recruit of all the details surrounding their graduation. Since MC only acts independently in such a hazardous scenario, the instructor found it impossible to believe his actions. It was also said that MC should be promptly ejected based only on his behavior. However, when the instructors realized they were no longer in a position to say those things, they were astounded. They also couldn't understand how, rather than guarding their recruits, they ended up collapsing. However, it was pointless to ponder about this at the moment. Instead, they needed to focus on saving MC. But MC suddenly appeared with the body of the Dark Hound on his back while the instructors and recruits were having a disagreement. The sight of the corpse and the realization that it was unlike any corpse they had ever seen stunned everyone. The corpse was subsequently given to the instructors, who were asked to examine it by the MC. The fact that MC was able to defeat such a sizable monster by himself astounded the recruits, who were astounded to discover how much strength MC possesses. The portal to the dungeon opens as the teacher examines the corpse that caused them to pass out. The teacher continues to be perplexed as to how MC managed to defeat the evil dog by himself. The other teacher was instructed to accompany the recruits, while the other one was left behind. The other instructor instructed MC to report to the lieutenant in full detail as soon as he arrived outside, and he was instructed to include everything, including how inept their instructors were. After all, they passed out and left the recruits alone. Even if they are imprisoned in a military facility, they have no justification. The instructor also thanked MC for his efforts, acknowledging that everyone was still safe as a result of them. The comments made by their professors made MC feel uneasy. However, their instructor taught him that, as a man, he must own up to mistakes when they occur. The instructor was perplexed since he had no idea how he would explain the reason for their sleepiness. MC was overjoyed by the accolades he had been receiving ever since their final training week. The status window of MC was then corrected, as they were ready to exit the dungeon. When MC received notice that the issue in his status window had been fixed, he was confused because he didn't know what kind of error it was. MC added that his status window on Earth is just as ludicrous as it is in the game. Despite the fact that his system has been restored, he continues to believe that something is strange. When MC reached the height of his black magic abilities in Isgard, he invented that cult as a joke to get rid of the zealots that followed him about like stalkers, so he was perplexed to see the Lumi Nuna is my favorite character remark. Lumi is a character from Dungeon Power Fighter. However, in the end, it simply served to inflame the already fervent fan base. MC has accepted that his stats are far worse than he had anticipated, and that he has gotten noticeably worse in every way. The moment MC returned to reality and discovered that all of his demonic energy had vanished. Although MC had an unending array of skills, only one was left, and its rating was poor, contrary to what he had somewhat anticipated as a punishment for his dimensional journey. The result of corruption is certainly a stomach pain for the main character, but it's not like the book is a third-rate one. It's just so ridiculous that he wants to throw up. Additionally, MC has stated that despite being unable to accomplish any of his goals at this time, he was still able to attain the pinnacle of his dark magic abilities in Isgard. And it's not like he can't do it again since he previously reached the highest level. For the benefit of the gaming firm, which is currently experiencing development delays because of monsters, MC's goal to regain his powers as quickly as possible has become more evident. MC exclaimed, "It's doable. Everything that has happened is nothing in comparison to the circumstances in Isgard, where he had no choice but to endure." The same day, there was complete commotion across the training facility due to a dungeon gate closing while training was taking place. The recruits who should have received the private ranks and enjoyed their freedom until dispatch were instead on standby due to the lieutenant's unclear instructions and the fact that a single recruit was able to defeat a new species of monster while the instructors were powerless to intervene as a result of the unprecedented series of events that took place. Afterwards, while still in the same room, the recruits began to argue that the military should at the very least permit them to watch television if such bizarre incidents were to occur during the last week of training. Then a participant questioned the validity of MC's claim to have successfully caught a hound on his own. The fact that it was a large dog rather than a cow when they first spotted it was confirmed by his companion, who said that they had mistaken it for a cow at first. The goal at the time was for MC to advance to sergeant within 2 years. Additionally, despite serving the entire 5 years, it was claimed that the Hunter Corps promotion exams were extremely difficult, and that the majority of candidates were only discharged as corporals. Thus, it appears that there are also hunters who are released in private first class, which is sad to consider. MC then informed the lieutenant. In order to break the ice, the lieutenant made a joke about how foolish he was for not thoroughly inspecting the dungeons and that he should be punished. To cut to the chase, however, the lieutenant has informed MC that the reason he was summoned to report is because he has something to share with MC. Since MC achieved the highest score, the lieutenant has a unique proposal for MC. "Do you want to hear it?" he said. The commander said that he was fortunate to have lived long enough to witness such a sight of MC, and used the term "a crane in a flock of chickens" to characterize MC as being truly exceptional, and not an average human. Nobody anticipated that MC would turn out to be a crane, so it was quite a surprise. The rest of the recruits, even those who performed above average, now appear to be chickens in comparison. A national loss would result if such a talent joined the ordinary loss, according to the commander, because they require more personnel. The commander was also informed that MC wished to advance as quickly as possible, but because of company policy, privates are not eligible to sit for promotion exams for another year.